just before we get started in a couple of minutes here, just wanted to give you a bit of an agenda. So what we're going to do today is we're going through a technology that my company has created, and it works on the accounts payable side of things. So basically what we do is we take invoices and receipts, digitize them, and extract the data and allow for faster processing times. The other thing we do is we will also allow for bulk coding of transactions, which helps reduce the manual entry that you put into a system, an accounting system, by upwards of 80%. So before we get into that, I do want to thank Jeremy Burke and Intuit for helping bring this together, and without him, this probably wouldn't have happened. So I greatly appreciate his efforts on this one as well, and the folks at Intuit. And so what we're going to do, we're going to get started here in a. What I'm going to do is we're going to go through a bit of a presentation. Then what we're going to do is we're going to end up in into a bit of a demo. There's a little chat window that you'll see on the software here. It looks like a little speech bubble. If you have questions, you can fire off the questions there. Or if you want, you can text me at 403-630-1243, and I'll answer them the best that I can. And we'll go through there. So there we go. 403-630-1243. Yes, James, thank you very much. So we got probably about 10 seconds before we'll get started. So I'm going to go into presentation mode. James, can you put the conference into mute mode for everyone? Already done? Great. Can you guys hear me? I'm sure you can, because it sounds like James is answering. So first off, appreciate everyone taking the time out today. Our agenda is I'm going to go through a presentation. Hopefully it'll take about 10 to 15 minutes, and then James will walk through a presentation of our platform. When I speak about a platform here today, I'm going to talk about there's EnterMyInvoice and bookkeeping automation. So bookkeeping automation is designed for accountants and bookkeepers. And EnterMyInvoice is assigned for kind of accounting departments in single entities or corporations. So if I use the two words, they mean kind of the same thing. The only difference between the two platforms are bookkeeping automation. We allow you to have multiple clients, to manage multiple clients on the platform. EnterMyInvoice, you can't. You can only manage one client on that platform. So with that said, I'm going to jump into this. I'm going to go into presentation mode, and we're going to go from here. And so the first thing is how to reduce your data entry time during tax season by up to 80%. So as I say, two companies here, EnterMyInvoice.com and Bookkeeping Automation, it's kind of two platforms under one company. And with that said, we're going to go in. I'm going to talk about the story of Chris being me, Chris Hamilton, who's one of the owners of the company, and how I'm the kind of client that my accountant, Dean Epp, who's probably on the presentation today because I know I registered, loves to hate and hates to love. Anyways, the whole idea behind the story of Chris is I'm the kind of guy where I would walk into my accountant's office, Dean's office, with 3-4 days left in the accounting season with a bag full of receipts, and say, there you go, Dean, get my taxes done for this year. And what that meant on an annual basis was anywhere kind of between 200 and 300 receipts and invoices and such that I was dropping off with Dean, and he's having to enter on a consistent basis, him or someone on his team. And what that meant was, for Dean, was anywhere between kind of an additional 8 to 10 hours of time just doing the manual entry, pulling stuff out, putting it into a spreadsheet, being able to manage it, manipulate it, and everything like that. Now, the other thing I'm going to put in as the preface is my receipts are not pretty receipts. They're crumpled up. They're jammed into a Ziploc bag. They are folded over. They're not in great shape. So I put Dean through a lot of stress. And I'm sure a lot of people here can sympathize because they go through that on an annual basis. Now, That, for example, is basically the way I would turn my receipts over to Dean to get him to do this sort of stuff. So what we did this year was a completely different year. And when I say this year, I meant the last tax season, was a completely different year for Dean, where I think I shocked him. And what happened was in late, late January, early February, we scanned all my invoices through a Fujitsu SnapScan and was able to capture these invoices in digital format, in a PDF format. And that took all of an hour. It actually took less than an hour. It was about 50 minutes for the person that I used to scan all. It was about 250 receipts this year and invoices that I had to put through the system. So it took less than an hour. Then on top of it, we took the GL out of my accounting system and we applied it to a bunch of these invoices, and we were able to bulk code it. And we did that in, it says 30 minutes. In fact, probably took about 10 minutes to do the whole thing. So in essence, what we did was we took my entire shoebox or garbage bag receipts, scanned them, put them into a format that was usable for my accountant, and coded them in literally less than an hour, or approximately an hour. So we took from 8 to 10 hours time and shrunk it down to literally 1 hour. And now what I talk about is, I have an economics degree, so I talk a lot about the 80-20 rule, which is otherwise known as that Pareto effect, which now, Dean has the ability to do more with his time on getting the accounting done rather than doing the manual entry or having his team do that sort of stuff. So we flipped everything around. We took a lot of the heavy lifting off his shoulders, and we were able to put that into his world in a much better place so that he could do stuff. Now, here is, and once again, I'm going through this because I'd rather have you guys see a demo rather than me completely talk about this presentation. But what we did was, or what we do is, we reduce the manual entry on that accounts payable process. So by taking receipts, invoices, bank statements, credit card statements, and digitizing these and bringing them into our system, it allows for a faster processing time. So one thing you do is you get rid of that manual entry. And then the second thing is you can start doing the bulk coding. What we can do, depending on what clients want, is we can extract summaries or line items from invoices and receipts, depending on how your client wants to see things done. And we can pull them into our system for bulk coding. It's added to our platform in that case. Then, as I say, we could do the bulk coding and auto code. So what I say is, after an invoice is actually being coded to a certain GL, if you use our system in the future and it recognizes that, it will automatically pull that GL code in should you want that to happen in the future. So it'll actually reduce your GL coding time as well. So the other thing too is, now we will sync with QuickBooks Online. And in addition to that, we also sync with QuickBooks Desktop. So if you have clients that are on QuickBooks Online or QuickBooks Desktop, our platform will work with both of them. And the other thing that it does is we'll attach receipts and invoice images right into QuickBooks Online in the data or in the journal entry. On QuickBooks Desktop, we have a link to a URL, which will give you access to the PDF file of that one. So here is, if you think about this hypothetically in your world, and what happens is during tax time. So I mean, and I know things are ramping up now, but let's just think about kind of February till the end of April timeframe. By leveraging our platform, you can reduce upwards of like 80% of the heavy lifting or the manual entry. So 16-hour days can now be condensed down into those 4-hour days. That gives you, in essence, it saves you approximately 12 hours a day. So I'm going to show you how you can save your family life by using our platform and making things a lot easier. So now what happens is, you're becoming way more efficient. If you want to work an 8-hour day, by taking those 12 hours that you're saving and doubling that, because what happens is, you're working a 16-hour day down into 4-hour days. If you double it and say you're going to work 8 hours a day, my time savings is now 24 hours. 24 hours plus 8 hours that you're working equals 32 hours. So an 8-hour day now is equivalent to a 32-hour day. Then on top of it, if you take that 32 hours basically and project that out for 5 days a week, and I know you guys during tax season are probably working 6-7 days a week and working long hours, but let's just say 5 hours or 5-day weeks, that now becomes 160 hours. 1 month's worth of work becomes 640 hours. 3 months worth of work, so that February, March, and April timeframe is almost the equivalent to a full year's worth of work. Now, think about it this way, is you're leveraging technology to become massively efficient in what you do, and think about the profitability gains that you can get from that. So what happens is, in effect, your hourly rate can increase double, triple, quadruple, based on gaining those sort of efficiencies. The kicker on top of this, though, is that you use our platform and you're doing this in the second year, because we've already coded a lot of these journal entries. People are creatures of habits, are going to go back to the same vendors over and over and over again about 80% of the time. So that Pareto effect kicks in. What happens is now we're coding these, or we're auto-coding them, and this becomes a review process. So now this 8-hour workday literally becomes like 8 hours of work is equivalent to 50 hours plus. Way more efficient use of your time just by leveraging the technology. So just at a very high level, what we do, and what James is going to show you today, you'll have to extrapolate. We've already got a bunch of invoices and receipts scanned in our system. So we did that so that you don't have to watch us actually scanning this stuff. But he'll have a bunch of stuff scanned in there. We capture information through a scan, through a PDF, through an image that's taken from your phone. When you send that to us, you can either put it in a file storage like Dropbox, Box, or OneDrive, or you can send it directly to our system, import it directly into our system, bookkeeping automation, or EnterMyInvoice.com. And then what happens is that allows you to bulk code, get rid of that manual entry, and then this now goes into QuickBooks Desktop and Online with a simple sync, and you're becoming way more efficient. Now, on top of that is QuickBooks Online has this great little ecosystem of other apps that you can layer in, which on top of it also makes you way more efficient. So what we're looking at is we're taking away that manual entry, the coding, all the stuff that you have to do, and it's making you way more profitable in less time. And it's a super way of doing business, basically. So here's the benefits of using this, right? We talk about our system data entry in half the time or better. It allows you to store receipts, which allows you to attach it to the entry in QuickBooks Online, or else have a link through on the desktop version. We allow for line item extraction. So, for example, if you have a client that goes to Canadian Tire and they buy tires for the car, coffee pot for the office, and a hockey stick, you can denote one goes to the automotive GL, the other one goes maybe to office supplies GL, and the hockey stick is a shareholder loan, so you can denote that sort of stuff as well. So we could pull stuff out on a line item extraction basis or a summary basis if you just want to get to the bottom of a bill and pull the summary out. We can also do GST, PST, HST breakouts. We allow for cost splitting between different departments. And I just got a note saying some of the clients can't hear. So if you can't hear, if you've already registered, we'll send you a copy of the presentation after the fact so you can go through it. You should be able to hear it then. Anyways, we do cost splits against data entry. So if you have multiple divisions that are sharing costs for a company, then we will allow for that. Construction companies love us because we can put job costing in for construction jobs. CRA audits. James will talk about this during his demo. We just did a CRA audit or helped a firm out with a CRA audit by extracting data from multiple bank statements and doing it in less time than normal. Is about half the time to do that. And then last but not least, a couple other things here. We can automate or semi-automate that data entry for you, so it becomes more of a review process rather than a manual entry process. And once again, last but not least, is we do the mass coding of expenses for you guys. And James, that'll become apparent when James starts to do the presentation or the demo here. And last but not least, we also supply onboarding staff. If you have clients that are getting a lot of paper invoices, we have staff that can call on your behalf and get people to start putting them into PDF format so that they can be extracted into our system as well. So if you want to get a 30-day trial, you can go to either EnterMyInvoice or bookkeepingautomation.com, hit us up on our contact page and ask for a 30-day trial. If you go to bookkeepingautomation.com, just on the main page, you can click on a link there. There's a call to action button on there that'll set you up for a 30-day free trial, and James will follow up with you and start onboarding you. Our suggestion is that if you're going to do a 30-day trial, start with a small client and just kind of walk your way through it, baby steps, so that you can understand how to use the platform. Now, with that said, I'm going to turn this over to James, and we're going to do a demo for everyone. And just once again, when James goes through this, understand one of the things we're not showing is the scanning of invoices or taking a picture and putting it into the system, just because there's not enough time to do that sort of stuff. So basically, we already have information into the system. So I am going to
Alrighty. So folks, hopefully people can hear me and see me. Oh, Chris is now the presenter.
Oh, sorry about that.
Okay, folks, you cannot see my screen. Can you just do it in the chat here and let me know? Chris, if you can monitor the chat and let me know if people can see the screen or not. Okay, and Jeremy's just posted. You can call by phone if you want to listen in via phone and watch on the video here. Okay. All right. All right, Peter. Thank you. You can see. Fabulous, folks. So my name is James, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking you through a demonstration of our software. Jeremy can't send to all. Give me a sec here, folks. All right, in the chat is the ID. Perfect. Thanks, Chris. Okay, folks, so the platform is a web-based platform. I'm logged in as a volume data entry person, aka a bookkeeper. So I have multiple clients here that I use. The very first interface that when you log in, shows your particular client. A couple fields that I want to point out real quickly is we use the account name and the account phone number and tag an email address after that. And the idea is vendors or vendors or staff or business owners or whoever can email in PDFs or images using these to email addresses, and that information will get extracted automatically. From this screen, we have the ability to be able to manage accounting software itself. We have the ability to do QuickBooks Canada for desktop and online, and for QuickBooks USA desktop and online. Have different versions, Pro, Premier, and Enterprise. Have the ability to code by project, class, or memo. We also have the ability to disable the bank feed. Some people use bank feeds, but most businesses that might have like a bank account, like a credit union that doesn't have a bank feed. And so we have the ability to upload information for that one that doesn't have a bank feed, and then disable for the other. In this particular demo, we're going to be using a QuickBooks Desktop client. We use QuickBooks Web Connector to be able to synchronize, and we generate 2 QWC files for that. And I'm going to show you that. So not only can we email, we can also manually upload vendor PDFs and bank statements. It's pretty easy. We can multiple statements or PDFs. We also have cloud integration. In this particular setup, we have drop to setup. So the idea is the client scans the information, puts it into one Dropbox folder, we upload it, and then extract the information and push it back down. And once the information has been extracted, we rename it and put it into a separate folder so that we're able to tag it. And I'm going to show you how we do that. We do that for both vendor invoices and bank statements. We have the ability to be able to manage your clients on an individual basis or pay as a multi-client. If you have reoccurring billings, you can manage them. Also see the state clients. As well, you have the ability to assign staff or whoever it is that you want to do. So you can take an email address and assign that to this particular client. And when that email address logs in, they're just going to see this client. They're not going to see any billing, and they can't change any default settings. This is great for staff or the client itself. Sometimes we've had people where the client wants to code some things and the bookkeeper wants to do other stuff. Okay. But the meat and potatoes of this. The meat and potatoes is our data automation platform. So what happens is you take your documents, you scan them. We scan them into individual PDFs. So a gas receipt, which is one piece of paper, that's one PDF. A bank statement, which is 6 pieces of paper, that's one PDF. You scan that, you upload that, and then what we do is we take that information and we put it in sort of a spreadsheet format here. And I'm just going to go through some of the fields real quick. This is the date that has extracted from the document. This is the date that it's been uploaded, whether it's being designated as a vendor invoice or as a credit card statement, or if it's been processed. We have a couple of fields here that we use for filtering. Has the information been extracted? Does it have a matching payment item? So for example, this document is a receipt, and in our bank statement or credit card statement on this date, for this amount, we have a matching a payment amount, so that document can be both a bill and as a payment. Have we pre-coded the item? Sometimes we just want to pre-code and we want another person to review. And lastly, has the document been tagged as synchronized to our system? We rename the PDF that has been uploaded to the name that's been extracted and the date. And we use that as a link to go into a detailed view, which I'll show you shortly. Of course, we can click on the PDF icon and see the PDF pop up. Okay. A couple more fields. This is the vendors that have been synchronized to the system. This is a QuickBooks set of vendors, set of GLs, QuickBooks taxes, QuickBooks jobs or customers. Okay. And then over to the right, we have the ability to tag it as an billable item. We can tag it by class, and we have payment methods, of course. Okay. And then last few columns here is some checkboxes for pre-coding and some other checkboxes here for bulk transactions. Okay. So in this particular screen right now, I have some vendor invoices and I have some bank statements. And so where the power of our software comes in is, as Chris alluded, we had a client, 2 years worth of data for September 14th, September 15th. We had the bank statements and all sorts of different kinds of bank statements. We uploaded everything. We did a review process on the bank statements to make sure that the information got extracted properly. And then what we did is we started to search for particular transactions, okay? And so in this particular example, the client had just for ESSO across all of Canada, there was 240 some odd ESSO receipts. And so what we were able to do is we took that ESSO and then we coded it directly to the vendor, the GL and the tax, etc. And we did it is billable that we had to do. So I'm just going to show you how easy that is. So I'm going to pick an arbitrary vendor, A&W. And I'm going to pick a GL account just for the sake of. I'm going to say it is taxes and property. I'm going to make the tax exempt just because I want to. Okay. And I'm going to change this to Robbie. And I'm going to make this yes, of course. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all of my transactions. The checkboxes are here. I know you probably can't see it because of the bubbles. And then I'm going to go select, and I'm going to go bulk code. Let's see if this puppy works here. Yeah, he's been my way, so give me a sec, folks. There we go. Alrighty, so let's do it again. And I'm going to go bulk code. Okay, and yes, I'm going to bulk code. Cool. Open that up. And all of my ESSO receipts, anything that has the word ESSO in it, is going to be bulk coded to A&W, taxes and properties, exempt tax to the job Robbie. And there we go. Okay. And then as well, because we had matching bank and credit cards, whatever we've tagged the bank or credit card document to QuickBooks, that is how it would be paid. So if we had some documents, don't know if I have any, yeah. So we had some documents that were visas, right? And we had some documents that were from TD Bank. And so then with, you know, it wasn't as, this client wasn't as simple as that. We had a lot of owner's draws as well. So we made a determination that, okay, that one would be an owner's draw and that one would be an owner's draw. Well, we just simply selected those particular items through the check boxes and bulk coded those as owner's draw. And then we were able to push 240 some odd transactions in about 5 minutes. Okay. And these were all, of course, bank statement documents. Just for your information, why is this one highlighted red and why did it change? Well, it just so happens that I had uploaded this receipt twice and it's tagging me and saying, hey, this receipt for this amount on that date, and do you really? So that gives me a message that I've already uploaded that receipt and I've already synchronized it. Okay. So what we need to do is prove to you that this stuff actually does push. So I'm going to be jumping into my QuickBooks database here. I'm in my vendors. Okay, and just make sure that my QuickBooks Web Connector is all set up, ready to go. So these are the 2 QWC files. Every database has its own set of QWC files that you would sync through in a QuickBooks Desktop manner. QuickBooks Online is a little bit more cool in that it's just asynchronous. It just goes across as soon as you push it, okay? So I'm going to clear the filter here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a document here and we're going to code it, and then I'm going to synchronize it to QuickBooks Desktop. And then we're going to show you how Desktop does not have the ability to push in PDFs directly. QuickBooks Online does have the ability to push in directly, okay? And so, but we have a workaround for that, which is pretty cool. Yeah, oh yeah, you enter a tax amount. So what happens is we let the software extract the taxes. Okay, so I'm just going to open up into my detail view. Okay. All right, so we open up into a detailed view, and what happens is this particular document doesn't have any taxes. Well, what happens is we want to set taxes up in here. So we can select the tax for this, and then we can readjust the grand total amount, right, for whatever it needs to be that pushes to QuickBooks. If the document did have taxes extracted, and of course I need to find one that has taxes extracted, we'll just see quickly, it will push the taxes that have been extracted. So there we go, PST. So I would just standard, it's PST only. It would slide over, PST on purchases. So we'd have to do whatever the calculation is for this. Sorry, I don't know which province this is at this point in time. In my QuickBooks, this is a PST document. Let me let you know, one of my jobs, one of the many hats that I do is I'm actually paid to also break the software so that when strange things happen, I'm able to, you know, send it off to our programmers to fix it. So in this particular, I have no idea where this is coming from. I've just uploaded for the sake of seeing if it actually uploads and extracts. So, so the taxes on here are PST calculated, okay? Yes, you can enter the amount in the tax field as well. So the question is, do you want to change it here? There we go, and we're going to save it. Okay, and the tax has been updated. Okay, thanks, Peter. Appreciate that. Okay, so so what I want to do is I want to push a document here. I just happen to know that this one is not in my system. I'll just show you a G's here. I do not have this grout done tile. Okay, so it's not in here. So I'm going to push that from my system. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pick this one right here because it's got a matching payment. Okay, so what happens is because this is a brand new one, I'm going to leave the vendors blank. I'm going to pick my GL that I want, and I'm going to say meals and entertainment because I feel like it. I know that there's no tax on this. I am going to push this to this numbered company here, and I'm going to make this is billable. Okay. And let's see. Oh, not sure what happened here. This might not push. Give me a sec here, folks, just because there's no amount here. So it's telling me right now that there's actually, sorry, no bank account here. So I think I'm going to have to pick something else here for you guys to get pushed. Let's do this A&W store here. Okay, so $10.07. Okay, shareholders loan. Boom, make it to this guy and this guy. Okay, and I'm going to go into, whoops. One moment. Off supplies, just because I want to. And go like that. Beautiful. So what happens is the system says that I couldn't assign it to the shareholder's loan because it's not an appropriate GL to do an ability to give a warning on that. Okay. So 1007, I'm just going to go into my QuickBooks database, and I'm going to just make sure we don't have a 1007 in there in A&W. And I don't see we have one. Okay, nope, we don't have a 1007 in there, so I'm going to push it over. And forgive me, guys, the bubbles are annoying me right now. 1007, select it. You betcha, and we're going to synchronize. Ready to sync. Okay, successfully. I'm going to keep that up there just for now. And then I'm going to go synchronize. Cool. Update selected. Okay, just taking a bit of time. I assume that's what's happening here is because we have so many people watching, I'm using also a DP terminal, that the screen might not be refreshing as quickly as possible. Okay, I think you're done. Expand the screen here. For folks, I'm not sure what's going on. It's not on my way to refresh. That's probably why. There we go, finally. Okay, my apologies. Okay, so there's my bill, $10.07, and there's my associated payment, $10.07. So I'm going to open that. Alrighty, office supplies, exempt, tagged to Robbie, and is an is billable item here. Okay, and then it did associated payment. So I wanted to do a quick view here. I'm going to copy this memo field. This is what we use to be able to grab a PDF from that particular transaction. So I've copied the URL, put it in here. I'm logged into my system. I hit enter. I'm going to let her open up. Oh, and it was a bank transaction. So this was a bank and credit card statement, okay, for $10.07. Okay, so I just missed a chat. Give me a sec here. So the question is, do all transactions come in as bills, payments, or can they come in as expenses? So how the system works is this. If a document is If a document is just a receipt like this and there's no matching payment, it's pushed just as a bill. If the document, if you're coding from bank and credit card statements, it'll push as a bill and as an associated payment, okay? You can assign, if you want to, a payment type through the detail mode. You cannot do it in the summary mode. And the reason we do that is because we're trying to make things quick as far as the auto matching goes. So in the detailed mode here, if this didn't have a matching payment, I could actually assign it here, okay, and pay it from here. And you know, like let's say if this was an Interact debit or something like that, and you knew that was Interact debit, you could push that way. Okay. And then Daniel is asking, is it just back out the taxes from the final amount, or is it OCR to find the tax field? I'm not sure exactly what you're saying there. We OCR the taxes, so the taxes are here, and then it's a comparison over here based upon what you're doing for. So if I had no taxes extracted and I wanted to extract it, this would do the calculation, okay? If the taxes were here and you wanted to just push the taxes, you would adjustment from the unit price, and then you'd be able to push the taxes, okay? Daniel, I hope that answers your question. Thanks. Awesome. Awesome, guys. Okay, Chris, tag me if you want to show QuickBooks Online. Yes, I can show you QuickBooks Online instantaneously here if you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over here. And so I'm easily switching to clients. Again, sorry for the delay. I just think it's the amount of screen sharing and things that's going on here. Okay, so bank statement document here very quickly. So I'm going to push Quiznos subs 2882 over. These already got pre-coded because I'd already pushed some Quiznos subs in. And so I'm just going to go over and check my suppliers. Come on. And of course, right? Of course, if it can go wrong, it can go wrong. So it's my QuickBooks is not logging in here. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. All right, we might have to forego that because she's not going in for me. Oh, there we go. Just took a little while. Suppliers. Let's go all the way down to Quiznos. Do I even have a Quiznos in here? Doesn't look I do. Doesn't look like I do. So I'm just curious what I might have done. Quiznos. Ooh, you know what? Like I said before, I'm paid to break stuff, so it's very possible that this just might not push because I've uploaded or synchronized to a different software for this. So let me find one that I do have for sure. 7-Eleven. Do I got TradeX? No, I think I'll do 7-Eleven here. So I'm going to push this particular document to my 7-Eleven vendor. And we'll go like this. Telephone expense. That's a Visa. And of course, I got to do this. Ready to sync. All right, and that was 7. And we'll push it over. So guys, I do have a feeling that this particular one, oh, maybe it did. I'm just a little worried because like I said, I do have the nice task to break stuff. 7-Eleven. And 1305, I believe, is what it was. And telephone expenses, there it is. Phew. Got out of the woods on that one. Okay, there it is. TradeX file, okay? And so with QuickBooks Online, you have the ability to insert the PDF directly, and of course, we still have the memo field in there as well, okay? So I'm just going to jump into a couple more things real quick here. We also have the ability to do line items. My USA account here has line items, which I'm just going to show you quickly. And the idea is if you do have invoices that all consistently have line items and you need to code by line items, you can. And as well, you'll be able to memorize those line items based on SKU and description. If the description is the same time, the memorization will be applied automatically. Of course, SKUs usually never change. Well, sometimes they change. Again, that will be automatically applied. So completed items. All right, this is my favorite one. So this is the document here. Okay. And then in my detail view, it's here. There we go. In my detailed view, there's all my documents or all my line items. And of course, I can code with however I want to code. Okay, and as well, if I need to, if let's say this was an inventory item, I can code by inventory items as well. Okay, and why are there balances owed accountable? Just one moment. Gotcha. So remember, this is my test system. If I do a blank, a vendor that hasn't been pushed, it'll show up as 0. Okay. So so here's my all my line items for this particular one for the USA. And again, you can push it the exact same way. And then again, if you upload the document, it will automatically match this so that you can just do a review process on this. Okay. In the booking setup, I just wanted to quickly show you that. Here we've kind of thought of a couple different things where some clients, and they like to code by bank statements only. Some clients, they want to do an auto match. Some clients have owners that bring in additional cards and they just want to code the business receipts. Sometimes you have clients that bring in their personal stuff for business and try to sneak it in there. So what we do is we have sort of the ability to do that. We take your document, your PDF, you upload it, you assign it to whatever the account is been assigned within QuickBooks. Okay, and then you would upload the document. Once the information has been uploaded, you can click on a hyperlink. The PDF of the bank or credit statement will show up. Okay, and then you can go in and do a review process. If, let's say, this was a business owner's personal and you don't want to have the personal items in when you're coding, you can easily edit the document. Okay, you can select which rows you don't like. Okay, and then you can delete those rows. You can also, documents are not perfect, there's handwriting on them, they're crunched, stuff like that. OCR, not perfect. The more pristine the document is, the closer the extraction rate is. If a document has had some errors through the review process, you can really change that however you need to change, and you can up it. As well, you can take the document and you can push it out as a CSV if you needed to, or an OFX file. Some people like to code through OFX files. Okay. Let me think. What else? Last but not least, we have a couple other things here that are perks. We have training videos embedded in the software. So if you're in a particular UI and you want to look at the videos within the system, you can click document, it pops up. We have a playlist on the left-hand side here, so you can select on that particular document and look at it. If you have multiple screens, you can drag this window somewhere else. As well, we have a value pricing tool in here. So if you have a client let's say it's a client that you've been working on for a period of time, and you've charged a certain amount, and you want to review how many transactions that client you've been doing for that client. Sorry, guys. You put in the date, select submit, and in a graphical format, it's going to show you how many number of invoices, how many of those were coded to whatever expenses, and how many items. You can hover over the particular bullets here to see what on that particular day. Okay. And that works for both accounts payable, accounts receivable, and bank and credit card transactions. And what's going to be coming down the pipe is for those business owners that come in and say, hi, I've only got transactions on my business account, but they have 2,000 transactions on their personal account. We're going to have the ability to be able to select that and review that component. And then you're going to be able to properly assess how you want to charge a client. Okay. Last but not least, we work English, French, and Spanish. You have the ability to add bookkeepers or accountants if you need to the system if they want to log in under their own email address. And that is pretty much it at this particular point in time. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to unmute everybody. And Chris, I think I'm going to get him to just talk first, and then from there we can take some. Okay, you can go. Chris?
Hi, everyone. Yep. James, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. So first off, I want to thank everyone for showing up. That's much appreciated. I know it's a lot to take in, and it's kind of drinking from a fire hose. But if anyone has any questions, you can either type them in the chat window or just ask them right now, and we'll try to answer them.
What's the cost of the software?
Good you asked that. You know what? I'll put the link in the chat window, and you guys can go see it there. Just give me a sec. And it's based on a per page basis. And just give me 1 sec. I'm just trying to pull this up right now. So basically, if you have a gas receipt or you have a bank statement, each page that's scanned, we deem to be one page. So literally what happens is, if you have a bank statement and you're trying to reconcile it and there's like 20 line items per, it's obviously more cost effective because of the fact that you're leveraging just the cost for one page on this stuff. So if you want the price discussion after the fact, more than happy to jump on the phone as well and discuss that with people. I just put the pricing template right into the chat window as well. There's also a question about will there be a script available of the webinar. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a replay that we will send out to individuals. While James was talking too, he was talking about value pricing. We're in the process of pulling together a seminar that we're going to do that will be free that talks to value pricing, and we're looking to run that probably January time frame before it gets heavy into the tax season, obviously.
Okay, Jeremy made a comment about how do you get an account. Basically, we send you a link to register, or you can go to bookkeepingautomation.com in the same here and go to sign up for free, and then you'll get a quick email after you've signed up, and then we'll set up a time to onboard you to make sure that you're set up and ready to go. Some people need to be handheld quite a bit, especially when it comes to the desktop sync. Other people, they just jump in and they know what they need to do. We do recommend, though, that you take advantage of us and get some onboarding so that you can maximize your time.
So a question just came up, by the way, is pricing for bookkeeping automation per month or yearly? So the way it works is it's like a drawdown. So if you buy like 100, basically you draw down against that. You're only charged for the 100 up front, and it's drawn down. And then, of course, when you get near the end, you get a reminder and saying, hey, basically, you're kind of coming to the bottom here, and it's time to top up again. So it's not a monthly amount. It's just based on the draw that you use or the amount that you're using against that as well. And also the other thing too, just so we can put it in perspective, the ROI on this, pretty much when you start using the system, it's already paying for itself based on the first invoice, just because you will save enough time to more than make that up. And let's see, just to reiterate, you receipt, invoice, and your bank statement, and the system matches the two. James, I'm going to leave that up to you to answer that one.
Yes, that is. Sorry, and I just sent that to Jeremy. Yes, that is correct.
Yep. Yes, it is. Sorry, I'm answering the question. Is the pricing model the same for an accounting firm? Yeah, bookkeeping automation is for accountants and bookkeepers.
Yes, it does pick up the
taxes from the invoice.
Yes,
James?
it does. Yes, it does.
Did it work with neat receipts? Yeah, James, maybe just show them really quickly where it pulls up, picks up the taxes.
You bet.
The other thing too, a lot of people ask us, is it similar to Receipt Bank? What we say is we're different from Receipt Bank if you've ever used it, in the sense that we do line item extraction, and also we'll pick up the taxes and stuff like that as well. And we also work with QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online. So basically 39 cents a page. So I'm going to base that, if I'm looking at our pricing model, that is probably close to what that is. And just to put that in perspective, if you're charging out at say 20, 30 bucks an hour, 40 cents on 40 bucks an hour is 1% of your time. Long story short, the amount of time it takes you to enter it and put it into the system, with the data entry and reconciliation and everything like that, this more than pays for itself on an ROI basis. And the other thing too is, as I went back to before, if you have bank statements and you got like 20 line items on a bank statement, that works out to about 2 cents per line item as it goes in. So it's very, very cost effective that way. So James, you're showing the GST. Okay. Now this is an interesting one. This is with a handwritten receipt, which we normally do not. A lot of times it will not pick up handwritten receipts. So we just want to put a caveat on that. Caveat on that is that handwritten receipts are very tough to do OCR on, optical character recognition, and extract the data. In this case, it actually worked. So
I'm just trying to grab a receipt where the GST extracted and I didn't manipulate it. There we go. There you go. So there's the amount of the PST in that particular field, and it picked it up PST and 30 right there.
The other thing I want to just talk to you guys about is we have a 30-day trial of our platform. So if you have any clients you want to try this out on, we've got 30 days or a 1,000 pages, basically, whichever comes first.
I'm still looking for other ones that have GST on it.
Any other questions from anyone?
Currently, is the price per client?
To me about this, I'm just going to type my phone number in here as well. I'm based in Calgary. Or you can email me, and I'm typing that in as well.
Gotcha. So Peter, in regards to is the price per client? Yeah, sort of. So each client has to have its own configuration on what you're buying, but with that, so if you bought 100 for one particular client and you only used 50 up for that particular client, and a period of time goes by, you still have 50 on file basically for that client. Another client, you buy 10 and they use 25, you'd have to purchase for that client. Okay.
So I don't know if anyone saw that there. The scanner we recommend is the Fujitsu SnapScan 500. Reason being is because it organizes the invoices. And if you go to our YouTube channel, just look up bookkeeping automation on YouTube, and James has 6 videos on there on how to actually scan through the Fujitsu SnapScan 500.
Sorry, Peter. Seems like all my receipts here don't have GST on them.
Who the hell are you that you don't have GST?
Can we reduce the number of columns on the screen? Not now, but that's in the works. There is an awful lot of columns. I understand that. Unfortunately, it's just the way that it looks. But ultimately, we will be. We'll get to a point where you can reduce the amount of columns.
Here's one.
Sometime within the next year, by the way, Peter. You're welcome, Peter. And by the way, I appreciate, I know there's someone coughing in the background. That's totally fine. I appreciate all you being very silent on this. It makes it a lot easier for everyone to be able to listen as well. So.
Okay, so here's the example of tax 35.
Now, are there any other questions from anyone? If there is, you're always free to ask him after the fact as well. If you want to get a hold of James, he could be reached at james.elser. I'll type it in. You beat me to it. And James is more than happy. He's the guy that onboards everyone as well. So he's a jack of all trades and master of a lot. So he will be able to help you with all that stuff as well, should you want to take this for a test drive. One of the suggestions that we have is try to do this earlier than later. And that's not a sales tactic on my side. It's more as you start moving into that tax season, it's easier to understand how to use the software or use it on future clients. When you're not stressed out and running a million miles a minute and doing 16, 20-hour days. So now is probably the time to take a look at that sort of stuff as well.
Okay.
One other thing I do want to make sure that everyone is aware is that sometimes some invoices will end up in our system. We do have an exception area, and I think James might have gone over that, but there's an area where there's exceptions that kick out. The other thing too is that because there's millions of companies out there, each company's invoices all look differently. We do our best to extract the data from it, but sometimes there are invoices that throw our system for a loop. When that's the case, what happens is within 24 to 48 hours, we go and build a template that's wrapped around that invoice so that it doesn't happen again, so that it'll actually pull that information in as well. And here's a case where the scan wasn't very clear. Thermal receipts can create a problem if you leave them for a while. They start to deteriorate, and that's what happens here is you start seeing this deterioration that's happening, or else it wasn't scanned very properly. So I'll tell you what, if that's, if no one has, oh, wait a sec, mention that you will be in Edmonton in December, ask if any, oh, yeah. So, by the way, I am going to actually be up in Edmonton in early December. And if anyone wants to take a test of this, I'm more than happy to have a meeting. Jeremy Burke and I from Intuit will come around and see you. I'm in Calgary, so same sort of thing. If you want me to come see you in Calgary, I can see you down here with Claude as well. And if you're kind of outside that Calgary, Edmonton area, in the BC area, my partner John Leishman can be wrapped into it and help you out as well. John's based in Golden, but willing to travel as well. And if you're outside of that, you know what, phone call, Skype call, we can talk through it. And as we grow our company and start making inroads into other provinces, I'll be showing up more often as well. So, and Sarum as well. Sarum from Intuit takes care of the Saskatchewan, Manitoba marketplace. So I can work with him and do Skype calls and conference calls and walk through that with people. So with that said, I think, you know what, James, I think we're good. I don't know if there's any other questions here. That took us through an hour. I thought we'd get through quicker, but I appreciate everyone investing an hour of your time into this. Think of it this way: you've invested an hour, and it could potentially be a game changer for you. And quite honestly, very few bookkeepers and accountants are leveraging a process like this. So I can talk to you outside of this on how to position yourself and gain a competitive advantage as well. So if you want to reach out to me, 403-630-1243. If I don't answer, I'll probably be in a meeting or on another call, but I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Once again, I appreciate everyone showing up. Thank you very much, James. Thanks a lot. Jeremy, thanks a ton for orchestrating this. And we are, with much ado, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And we'll let everyone know about our value pricing seminar that's going to come up in January as well. And we'll send a recording out of this probably within the next 24 hours.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good game.